Hello, welcome to my video for the week 11 coding assignment for the Promineo Tech front-end portion of the bootcamp. For this assignment, we were asked to create a tic-tac-toe game. We were given a couple of instructions. I'll go ahead and read those right now. It says create a tic-tac-toe game grid using your HTML element of choice. When a cell in the grid is clicked, an X or an O should appear in that spot depending on whose turn it is. A heading should say whether it's X's or O's turn and change with each move made. A button should be available to clear the grid and restart the game. When a player has won or when the board is full and the game results in a draw, a bootstrap alert or similar bootstrap component should appear across the screen announcing a winner. So you can see my HTML right here. I'm going to go ahead and open it with live server so I can explain it. So you can see a couple of things. We have a table. We have this heading that kind of tells you what turn it is. We have a reset button. This heading right here is contained within the banner container. You can see there's nothing in there, so it's created dynamically. I have this table as well. It's contained within the game container, and since there's nothing in it, this is also created dynamically through JavaScript. The button is the only thing I hard-coded in the HTML. So it's contained within this reset container. And that's the button we use to reset the game when we want to. There's a couple of functions I need to explain. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I have one right here called create game table. It's what creates an empty table, just the structure for it. So it creates the table and the table body. And it gives it a couple of IDs so I can select it. This is the next function. It's create table rows. It populates the table with 9 cells, so 3 for each column. And it fills them in with this default value of a dash, and that's all that does. And then right here for this next function, we have check columns and check rows, and I might as well also do check diagonals. All of these functions check for a match on for a win, basically. So this one checks for 3 in a row on the column for check columns, and then check rows checks for 3 in a row on each row, and then for check diagonals it checks the diagonals, so the X pattern basically. And if it finds one, it returns the value contained within the 3 matched, and if it doesn't find one, it returns false. And then I have this next function called check for win. It basically just calls all of these, and if it's any value other than false, it returns true, and if it's false, it just returns false. So I use that to kind of help determine whether the game is over. And there's this next function. It says get the string of value returned from a matched check function, and it's called get winner. So basically, I use this to find out which whether the X or the O won the game when the thing is matched. And you can see it just basically calls them, and it just gets the string value from the check functions. And there's this next function called get player turn. This is just a simple thing where I use modulus and the turn counter from the containing function, the parent function, and I just return a string based on what it does, what it gets in return after the modulus. There's this next function called render player turn. It's what I use to make this banner. Essentially, it just renders the turn. Yeah, it returns an X or an O, I believe. Oh, it doesn't return anything. Let me see. So first, it checks to see if the container has something with it, and it empties it out if it needs to. And then I create a paragraph, and based on the turn counter and get player turn, it renders whose turn it is. And then I have this next function called render win banner. It's basically what runs when there's a winner. It replaces the turn banner with one of who won the game. It'll say like X won the game or O won the game. And then there's render draw banner. If it's a draw, it'll just say there was a draw. This is reset board. It basically empties the board and resets the turn counter so that we can continue the game. And this function right here says start game. Basically has 2 event listeners, one for the table and one for the button. The button just runs the reset board function whenever it's clicked, and it resets the turn counter. And then the event listener for the table basically is what handles replacing stuff and going with the turns. And at the end, I have it all right here being executed. So you can see right here, if I do this, let's get a win, boom, 0-1, and then I can reset it. And let's get X winning, but in a diagonal, X won the game.